Hey guys, back with another one. This time I want to talk about what do I think it takes to make someone believe in the existence of a God. What is it that clicks in their head? What is it that doesn't click in their head? What is it that makes them say this has to be true? Well, I'm kind of in a unique position here because, as a few of you may know, I used to believe this stuff myself. I was a believer, dyed in the wool. I used to preach, so help me God, I used to preach, you'll pardon the pun. I used to preach myself. And I used to tell other people about this stuff. I used to believe this crap. I really did. And I noticed that as I think back on it, I would always run into kind of the same type of people. They were generally pleasant folks, generally mild-mannered, at least when I saw them. And they could talk Jesus to you back and forth, up, down, and sideways. So they really learned and understood this stuff. But I really do get the impression that it wasn't that they were unintelligent. No, it wasn't that. But it was that they had a decided lack of education about the world around them. Some of the things that I would hear them say were painful. They did not have any idea how the world around them worked, and what's more, a lot of them really didn't want to know anything about the world. And that's kind of sad, actually. Just uneducated folks. Now, granted, there are a few people who are in higher education, some people with PhDs who actually do believe this stuff as well, but you'll find that the percentage of these folks is a lot smaller. Instead of 85% of the population believing that God exists, you're going to find in academia that drops down to somewhere around 10 or 15. If my numbers are right and I'm just remembering them, please check me out on this. And other than a lack of education, which I believe is essential to this, you have to have a willingness to undermine your own ability to reason about the world around you. You have to be able to say, just because I'm an adult and just because I see things around me and I can make predictions like whether or not, as I've been using in a few letters back and forth with some interesting folks, an example of what happens when you hold a coin up like this and you drop it. I know there's no coin, but if you drop it, what happens? You know enough to know what's going to happen. You have a reasonable expectation of this. So you do have the ability, and you acknowledge that you have the ability to understand how the world around you works to some degree. But in order to be a believer, you have to undermine that. You have to take all these miracles as things that could actually happen and saying, well, God can do anything, especially the impossible things, especially the things that are self-contradictory. If you need to know, ask, I'll tell you. And I've also noticed that people who are born again, these people who have found Jesus later in life, they weren't born into it, they found him in times of emotional stress, emotional duress. They were having trouble with a girlfriend, they were having trouble with someone in their family, something horrible had just happened, and somebody came and told them about Jesus, and this was exactly what they needed to get them through, and they decided that since this was something that allowed them to deal with the situation at the time, they decided to emulate their emancipators, basically. They decided to go ahead and believe in this stuff at a time when they were admittedly emotionally and mentally fragile to believe in this stuff and go on and tell everybody else about it because they figured, hey, if it helped me, it'll help somebody else. But we all know where this leads. I've also mentioned that just a while ago about being born into the faith and how this can happen. This is basically your parents tell you about this. They're believers. They believe this all this time. They give it to you. And you're in a mindset where you cannot question them. There's a reason you don't ask why it's a bad idea to go play with a crocodile or go pet that dog that's snarling and growling at you. Your parents tell you this is bad or that's hot. You leave that alone because you have to trust them. If we didn't trust them, we wouldn't be here. We'd all be dead a long time ago. And you can probably think of just a few situations that you were in yourself. Now, regarding faith, I want to say right now that I believe it's a type of mental childishness. It's a type of perpetual childhood that you put your mind into. You believe in a father figure who watches out for you, takes care of you all the time. You don't have to worry about anything, man. Everything for you is set. If you have a problem, just go talk to Dad. He'll make it okay. No matter what's going on, you need money, you need to get with a new girlfriend, you need to do something, anything at all, no matter what it is. Go ahead and pray to him, talk to Dad, and Dad will do something for you. And if he doesn't, well, he knows best and you didn't need to do it anyway. You're taking your mind out of the loop when you do this. All you have to do is telepathically communicate with Dad, and it's okay. But they don't believe in magic. That's important. Keep in mind, this is not magic. This is telepathic communication with someone. You believe in telepathy. Right. I just had I just had a conversation with someone named Born Again, series of Born Again 001. He's here on YouTube. And we were talking about responsibility and how what I've just said plays into responsibility. Because with this childish attitude, you're not responsible for anything. The devil makes you do everything bad you do. Remember that. It's the devil's influence. You had all this bad stuff happen to you. You were a sinner. You didn't do it, but you're going to have to pay for it. But we'll get you out of that. Dad will get you out of that. And just go to him with anything, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. This is a type of avoiding responsibility, and it's bad for you. With Born Again 001. He mentioned to me in the last letter he sent, I think he finally gave up and quit once I handed him his butt with a plate full of trimmings, that he was watching television and it was the movie Titanic was on, and he saw these people die and all this good stuff. And granted, they were actors, we all know this, but he got to thinking about the real event. And he said that all he could think about when he saw those 1,500 people, the 1,500 actors portraying these 1,500 real people who really died, was whether or not they knew Jesus at the time they died, because that was the only thing that mattered. Death was the great equalizer, he said. Now, keep in mind, he wasn't concerned with the people's families. He wasn't concerned with the ones that they left behind. There were mothers, daughters, sons, wives, fathers on this boat, and they died. Some of these people, I guarantee you, out of all those passengers, at least one baby in a crib lost a breadwinner. Didn't have anything at all. There were people who starved because they lost people who could work. At this point in time, if you were a poor person, you were in trouble. If you lived in high society, well, yeah, you lived better than a king. But the passengers who weren't, man, it really sucked to be them, and serious family damage was done. The human cost is easily 3 times the number of people that went down on that ship. But he didn't care about any of that. These people are dead. He doesn't care. All he worries about is whether or not they know Jesus at the time they died. So a person for which he has no proof, a person for which he has never heard from, he's talked to, but he's never heard from, and he's never seen. And does this sound like, I don't know, mental illness to you? Not worrying about other people? You're irresponsible. You don't care about other human beings, and the only thing you can think of when they die is, well, they've gone on to a better place. Man, something is bad wrong with you. Really, you have head trauma. Somebody needs to get you to a doctor, because you're not right in the head. A sociopath thinks the way you do. Charles Manson and who was that other guy? Like to eat people? Jeffrey Dahmer? He thought this way. Well, yeah, it's people dead. Oh, well, these things happen, and on he goes. Now, he didn't say this, but I wonder what he was thinking at the time of the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center. Real people when it was really happening. Did he look at that and say, oh, all those people, 50,000 dead, I hope they knew Jesus, and didn't give not half a damn about the people they left behind? Friends, family, co-work, everybody, and not even the collateral damage of the building falling. Didn't care about any of that. The only thing he's worried about is whether or not they believed in the same invisible guy he did. I said that it takes a lack of intelligence along with not a lack of intelligence, but a willful suspension of your mental faculties. A willful suspension of your compassion, because you don't have true compassion. You're only worried about what happens after you die. And you have to be in some type of emotional duress to take this stuff on, or not be in a state where you can make decisions for yourself. That's my theory, and that's my little idea. If anybody wants to discuss it with me, here I am. For all you other guys who've been watching this crap and stayed with it this long, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on here next time. Take it easy.